In this playlist of common cases in physical therapy, the joint we will discuss is the shoulder joint and the pathology is the shoulder dislocation. Shoulder dislocation can occur in four directions, but we will discuss the anterior and the posterior. The most common cause is due to the trauma from a direct posterior lateral force on the shoulder joint. The most common cause of shoulder dislocation is trauma. Okay, individuals may also present with the direction of instability that can predispose them to dislocation of the joint. Instability leads to dislocation of the joint. In this case, the muscles are unprepared. There are two conditions in which first the muscles may be unprepared, or the second in which the force overwhelms the muscles. These are two conditions. The first we will discuss the anterior shoulder dislocation, and the second we will discuss the posterior shoulder dislocation. Anterior shoulder dislocation account for 97% of the recurrence or first time dislocations. It is very common, where it's also this thing is very important for MCQs. It is the most common dislocation and is caused by the arm being positioned in excessive amount of abduction and external rotation. This is also very important. Following an acute anterior glenohumeral dislocation, we can see these things in the anterior shoulder dislocation. Arm held in an abduction and external rotation. Here we can discuss loss of normal contour of the deltoid and acromion process of scapula. The normal control is contour is loss, prominent posteriorly and laterally, humeral head palpable anteriorly, all movements limited and become very painful, palpable fullness. There is a palpable fullness below the acromion process of scapula and towards the axilla. These are the things we can notice in case of anterior shoulder dislocation. And the second, we will discuss posterior shoulder dislocation. Posterior shoulder dislocation is less common and is account for 3% of shoulder dislocation. Its cause is the external blow to the front of the shoulder. When there is external blow to the front of the shoulder, the joint is dislocated posteriorly. There is an indirect force applied to the humerus that combine flexion, adduction and the internal rotation. In the anterior shoulder dislocation, there is abduction and external rotation, while there is in posterior shoulder dislocation, there is flexion, adduction and internal rotation to the indirect force applied to the humerus that combines with these movements. This is usually the result of one falling on an outstretched hand. This is important to remember. With an acute posterior glenohumeral dislocation, we can see these features: arm in abduction and internal rotation, may be or may not lose deltoid contour, may notice posterior prominence head of humerus, and also tear of subscapularis muscle, weak or cannot internally rotate. The main function of subscapularis is to internal rotation, so this movement is lost. And next we will discuss the treatment. Treatment has phases. In the phase 1, acute phase, goal is to maintain anterior inferior immobilization for stability. Typical time periods in a sling range for 3 to 6 weeks. If under the age of 40, then we can go for 3 to 6 weeks of sling, and 1 to 2 weeks if older than the age of 40. During the immobilization period, the main focus is on the active range of motion of the elbow, wrist and hand, and reduction of pain. Not focus on the shoulder. Active range of motion, focus on the other joints of upper extremity. Isometrics means same length. when the muscle has same length. Isometrics can be incorporated for the rotator cuff and biceps musculature. In the acute phase, we can also go for icing and tense. Range of motion exercises, it is necessary to be caution of extreme ranges. Don't go for extreme ranges because the stability is not maintained. When their joint is stable, we can go for extreme ranges, otherwise not. The pendulum exercises, active assisted range of motion exercises with the help of physiotherapist. Avoid excessive external rotation and horizontal abduction for anterior stability. For anterior instability, if there is anterior instability, don't go for extreme external rotation and horizontal abduction, and avoid excessive internal rotation and horizontal adduction with posterior instability. These two points are very important. All range of motion exercises within pain free arc. Isometric strengthening, when there is same muscle have a same length. Isometric strengthening, flexion, abduction, extension, internal rotation, external rotation, all the upper extremity movements, biceps, scapular protraction, retraction, elevation, depression, these we can do. In the phase 2 immediate phase, during this phase the main goal of rehabilitation are to increase strength and proprioception. Proprioception means joint positioning, sense of joint positioning, normalize orthokinematics and enhance neuromuscular control. This is our goal for phase 2. In order to advance to this phase, the patient must have near to the full range of motion, but not to the 100% range of motion, near to full range of motion, minimal pain, adequate stability and proprioception. Range of motion exercises same as phase 1, but progress to exercises in 90-degree abduction if there is pain free. Strengthening exercises, abduction to 90 degrees, slide laying external rotation to 45 degree. Eccentric. Eccentric means when the muscle have full length, full lengthen. Eccentric internal and external rotation strengthening with the help of TheraBand. Prone extension to neutral, prone horizontal adduction, prone rolling, all the movements of upper extremity, bicep curls, tricep push-up, push downs, manual rhythmic stabilization, PNF, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation techniques. We can use all in phase 2. And in the phase 3, advanced strengthening phase. During this phase, the main goal of rehabilitation are to enhance strength, power, endurance, neuromuscular control, increase dynamic stability of the joint, and prepare for a activity of daily living. In order to progress to this phase, the patient must have full range of motion. In this, we have full range of motion without pain. Progression of strengthening exercises and normal muscle strength, stability, and neuromuscular control. In this last phase, we also go for strengthening exercises, full range of motion strengthening, bench press, seated rolling. These we can see in the picture. Lateral pull downs, endurance exercises, time exercises instead of repetition. Increase number of repetition in this phase for strengthening multiple times throughout the we can go for multiple times exercises 3 times a day. In this lecture we will discuss the shoulder dislocation. Shoulder dislocation, there are two most common, and the anterior shoulder dislocation account for 97% and posterior is of 3%. And we discuss all the phases of treatment of shoulder dislocation. Tell me, is pendulum exercise recommended in shoulder dislocation? Thank you.